Hello and welcome back to a special edition of the Stronger Than Steel podcast. Joining me in person again today is Austin Davidson. My name is John Keir, and we are going to be just doing a brief little recap of the Steelers' 27-20 win over the Buffalo Bills. Just some quick takeaways. What was your impression of today's game, Austin?
It was closer than it. It wasn't as close as it went down. It really felt like the Steelers dominated this win. It was only by 7 points, but it felt way more than that.
I just remembering from what I saw, Austin, you were close to the Steelers side in the first row. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was in the first row, right behind Jordan Berry, actually, 10 feet away.
I had a seat out in the corner by the tunnel where the teams came out on the Bills side. Based on what I saw early on, it felt like the Steelers were using a lot of shotgun, a lot of empty sets, and they were moving the ball well through the air. But that first drive ended with a bad interception that Roethlisberger just made a bad throw on that one. And it was kind of the theme of the day for him, but I felt like going into halftime, the Steelers were up only 14-7. It really felt like they could have been up by a lot more, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. The pick really ruined it before the half.
And then there was a second pick, which you were just referring to, which Ben didn't... It wasn't a horrible decision, but he just didn't make a good throw. Brown didn't fight for the ball, and I think it was Stephon Gilmore ended up with the interception. That led to the Bills' first touchdown and only touchdown of the half, where Sammy Watkins beat Sean Davis clean on the inside. Really, even with Ramon Foster out, I felt like the Steelers were getting amazing offensive line play early on from, obviously, as far as running the ball goes. And maybe we should have led with this. How about Le'Veon Bell? We probably should have mentioned him first. What a day he had, huh?
Yeah, well, I'd say that we could have mentioned the offensive line first. They allowed 0 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, and they play a big role in letting that running back get free.
Oh, absolutely. It was just like a clinic. I don't think Le'Veon Bell's previous career high came against Tennessee in 2014, if you remember that. He had 204 yards. Even in that game, I felt like he wasn't getting as open as he was in this game. Bell was just... There were some plays where he was getting only 2 yards, but it felt like almost all the time he was just finding the open space. He was finding room, and he was making people pay for trying to hit him. It was an incredible performance from him. 298 total yards, 236 on the ground on 37 carries. Man, he's just like the Energizer Bunny, isn't he? He just keeps going.
This is great. He was on my fantasy team. He got 62 points on my league, so that's crazy. And just to think about it, the total yards for Pittsburgh was 460. He was at 298. He accounted for almost 2/3 of all their yards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All but 6 yards on the ground. Fitzgerald Toussaint had the other carry for 6 yards. But yeah, like we were saying, the Steelers just really... I felt like at halftime the Steelers could have easily been up 21-0, and they just controlled the play for the first half. Offensively, they were moving the ball, as we said, minus that interception. They were that interception at the end of the half. They had been moving the ball well through the air too, but they were finishing on the ground with Bell. Defensively, we were all worried about the Bills' number 1 ranked ground game. Well, the Steelers held that in check. Even in the, I believe the Bills finished with, let's see here, 67 rushing yards. I think they had like a 17-yard rush on like the second to last play of the first half. It really doesn't do the defense justice of how well they played against the top-ranked unit in that kind of weather. It was cold. It was hard to grip the ball, as evident by all the 4 interceptions thrown today. You could tell the weather played a big part of it. I think that the way the defense played, shorthanded, minus Javon Hargrave, it was really a great performance, don't you think? And we haven't even mentioned the pressure they got.
Yeah, 12 hours ago we said that the Steelers' defensive line was going to get gashed, just the defense actually, and they didn't. They kept the rushing game in check, and it was good.
I mean, it was just it's something we probably won't appreciate enough, but it was just fantastic overall. On the other side of the ball, the Steelers, well, not the other side, on the other aspect of defensive football, the Steelers were getting contributions everywhere early on with 3 first-quarter sacks and 4 in the first half, 5 in total. everyone was getting in on the sack sheet right here. I see 5 in total. Stephon Tuitt had half. Sean Davis had a sack and a half. Shazier with 1, and Bud Dupree with his first 2 of the season. It was nice to see him getting after the quarterback, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was nice. I made fun of his pass rushing last week, saying he was trash. I don't know if I said it on the podcast or not, but I definitely went to you about it. And he proved me wrong.
And Artie Burns had the interception for Pittsburgh. It was also important to point out that Buffalo had the least amount of turnovers in football going into this week with 8. So I guess really quickly here, the score read 27-20, but as we said, it really didn't feel like it was that close of a game. Buffalo had a couple of touchdowns in the end of at the end of the game that brought the score a little closer. I guess who was the star of the game? That's obvious, but who was someone that you wanted to see play better, maybe aside from Roethlisberger?
Okay, aside from Roethlisberger, I really felt like Ladarius Green was pretty quiet today. Mm-hmm. After coming off of his career game, it's pretty quiet from him. So I wanted to see more out of him. How about you? What do you think?
I completely agree with you. That's exactly who I was thinking too. He got targeted a few times, but he never came. I think he only had a couple of catches here. Let me check this out. He had 2 for 25, so really the Steelers weren't getting much done through the air outside of Bell and Brown this week. So luckily for the Steelers, the ground game was actually what got it done for them. Is there anything else here that you wanted to talk about here before we finished up here? Because I know that we have a lot to talk about. Oh, time of possession. That was huge. Obviously, when you run the ball 37 times, that means you're probably doing something pretty well. Listen to this. The Steelers had the ball for 38 minutes and 41 seconds to the Bills' 21 minutes and 19 seconds. If you take out the Steelers' 3 interceptions there, I think you could easily be looking at something like a 42-10 score instead.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible how much the Steelers had the ball. They had officially won the time of possession battle like midway through the third quarter, and they didn't even have the ball for most of the fourth quarter. I felt like it's a game where the Steelers may have gotten unlucky in some aspects, but
Pick 6 got taken away.
Yeah, but in other aspects they may have been lucky too, because sometimes turnovers like that, 3 turnovers can kill you, especially even when you have stuff like this. There are games when not being able to convert, especially against teams that are 500 or sub 500 on the road for Mike Tomlin teams, have just not been good. I think that being able to take away from this game is that, boy, it's great to have a guy like Le'Veon Bell, even when the passing game isn't working, even when the weather's been bad. And I really think that the defense may have finally turned a corner, don't you think?
Yeah, I think this is the turning point for the defense was at the Browns, and then it's just been getting better or staying good since.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap this up today?
No, just that our predictions were both pretty close. I think I called 24-20, and you called...
I had 23-17 Buffalo.
Yeah, we were pretty close.
I really did not expect the Steelers to be able to shut down the ground game like they did. I'm looking forward to watching this on the tape, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Anything you wanted to say about your first experience at a Buffalo football game in Buffalo?
It's cold as hell.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 25 degrees. We were definitely freezing, layered but still freezing.
So were the players on the field. Actually, Jordan Berry tweeted me after the game. Check out Twitter at STS Podcast 1, and yeah, he was freezing his ass off too. He said he was dealing with it just like we were.
Yeah. So anyways, thank you for joining us here today, and we're all happy about a Steelers win here on Sunday night. And we hope you all have a great night, and go Steelers.
Woo.